Hey everyone, it's Char from Char's Fashion Nation. And what are we here for today? I have to make me some new clothes. I'm lucky that this dress still somewhat fits. Um, so I have been, if you saw that one shirt that I wore to my doctor's, I should say, a medical appointment, and I just so happen to have some other fabrics cut out in that same raglan sleeve pattern. So this is fabric from Fabric Mart Fabrics. And so I did cut this as the raglan sleeve. This is the bodice portion. Okay, so I got the front and back cut out of that. And I'm trying to think of what should Saturday's sewing video be? A sewing with Char. Because why not? And then now this is not that same fabric as the other brown fabric. This is a darker chocolate brown tone. And so my thought on this is to take this, right? You might or you might not like this idea, is to take this, and this can be a collar trim on there. Um, or that leopard print can always be the trim on this. Now, that'll be one thing. Don't mind the light in the back. That's why I'm trying to, and the mannequin's right there. Oh, and I did crochet the shawl she's wearing. And I did sew the dress she's wearing, of course. So I made sure to, because this is a four-way strip. What I did was I cut both sides out at the same time, because with the pattern for this raglan sleeve, I happen to like, make sure I put that one over there. I happen to like how the back piece of it comes up higher in the front. I don't like it too low. I like it to where the collar comes to right about here. I don't want the collar to be all the way down here. You know what I mean? So, that's why I'm saying, like, I may take the different colors, and like with this one, I already have the brown piece that I'm going to use for the collar. This might not look like it's going to be a collar, but let me show you something. Once that is like folded, this is not going to be folded perfect. That's going to be great as the collar on the shirt. So that's my thought on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this one first and do the collar. Now what I'm thinking is, because I'm using the scrap bits from what I cut, is to take a long piece of this, right? And so it follows, from that way around. Just go with me on this. So it just goes that way around. And literally there's enough on this to do that whole thing. Now, here's the other thought, right? Hear me out on this. Is to take, well, of course I'm going to cut this rounded section off, but, just cut it across and take those rounded off bits, do kind of a patchwork sleeve piece. I think it'll be kind of cool, maybe on this one, if not the other one. I'll see. Those pieces I will literally clip together and then just like drape it on the arm. See if I like it or not. To see like is that something I want to play with the sleeve? Let's come into this year with sewing projects, especially now that we're in spring. It's starting to warm up. It gets warm and then it gets cold. That's why I'm working with these fabrics. It's kind of in between so that you can, Body Armor, not a sponsor, but they should be, because this keeps us seamstresses well hydrated. And it's good for you. It's also better than Gatorade. It doesn't have all that dye. That's because the label that it looks like that. But this does not have all that dye that Gatorade and that Powerade have. Also keeps you better hydrated, and it's more natural than it is fake. So, gosh, there aren't that many, or are there? I don't see any dye. Well, isn't that interesting? I'm not seeing any dye listed on this, so. Huh. Yeah, this is just full of goodness. But anyway, like I said, Body Armor, they're not a sponsor, but you should be. So anyway, working with fabrics from Fabric Mart Fabrics, like this one, to me is always really good, because you can, if you live not far from Pennsylvania, you can go to Sinking Springs, Amish country up there, and I mean Amish. Oh, wow. Just the fields and fields of just Amish crops, right? And their little shops and everything. And yeah, they even shop in Fabric Mart. So hopefully I can hope that this year I can go back up to Fabric Mart. I love that store and be able to shop. Now, they told me that if I ever get the chance to come up there, because I already got permission, that as long as I do not film any of the people in the store except for myself, and only show the fabric and just myself and what I would be buying, that I can film in there, because, you know, Amish, you're not supposed to film them. I mean, they have gadgets now, you know, they have phones, cars, and amenities like we do, but you just have to ask permission, that's all. So if I ever get the chance to go back up to Fabric Mart, because they have so much more than what they used to, yeah, darn Skippy. And they're only open on certain Saturdays. They're closed on Saturday and Sunday. Which I don't know why, because that's prime buying days. Anyway, the point is, we're going to do a sewing video with some of my fabric from Fabric Mart. I have a lot of fabric. Like I've been saying this, I just need to use up my fabrics. That's it. I just need to use them up. I also have some sewing that I'm doing for Jonna from Jonna's Place, and for Pauline from Pandora Muse 57 Nails, which I will be tagging them in the description. That thing. And Tammy's Nail Techniques. So, yeah, and a few other gals. But let's let's get the sewing done. And I also have a collab coming up next month with Life with Christine. We are gluten-free gals. We are. In fact, I gotta show her the ramen noodles she can eat because they're rice noodle. And the other one is bean. Because she has to be gluten-free. I'm actually wondering, because you get the same trigger, like pains and stuff that I do. I wonder if you actually got Hashimoto's disease instead of hypothyroidism, which is what I was diagnosed with, but that was the wrong diagnosis. And then an endocrinologist said, "You ever heard of Hashimoto's disease?" "No." "We should put you in the hospital today." Thank goodness they didn't. Right. Thank goodness they didn't. I just took the medicine in the office. Like, okay, well, you gotta take this for so many days and then we'll test you. Anyway, let's get on to the sewing, shall we? So don't mind how my fabric table looks right now. This is a piece of that brown fabric. I know you probably can't really see that too good against the black, but I had cut that like this, and I'm thinking, would that be a good cut for the sleeving? And then, for this, if I want to do a sleeving, then I could do that. So we'll go ahead and set that one aside. Move my scissors over here because I need those near me, and move my phone. So I was thinking about this piece for the collar. So what we do is we just fold that like this. This is your basic collar, right? So what you want to do is stitch your ends together. I know this is not a perfect cut, but you want to stitch your edges together. Get this piece here. So like I said, you want to just stitch those edges together. And this is not going to be like a turtleneck, because once these edges are sewn, then we will be flipping that like this, I should say. And then what that will do is that will give you a nice neck banding like what I was showing you. So this will actually be on the inside. So that makes a nice creased mark. And let me tell you why. When you do that, because I also like to attach just a plain tag. It's a plain like little square nail, right? When you're going to sew the neckband onto the shirt itself, that makes it a much easier way, not only because it'll have that mark here from the hemline to mark the back. That's how I do a lot of my shirts that I put a neck banding on, is that piece marks the back. Okay, that always marks the back, unless you have a shirt a certain way where each end attaches to another one where it's sewn on the ends, like that gold colored sweater shirt that I made. But you couldn't really tell with that one. Now I do have a brown fabric already, or not fabric, thread already on the machine. And yeah, so I already have that because of the shirt that you saw with the brown and the leopard print, which I think that is so pretty. But I'm not sure if it looks right on me. So I'm going to try to make some other shirts that will fit over my back brace. That's why I have to make the bottom half of it larger than the upper half, if that makes some sort of sense. And yes, I know my hands look like total crap right now. So we'll set this aside for now. The neckband we'll just put over there. And so this section here, right? We will be figuring this out right now. If we want to just take, I'm going to do a different take on this, just so y'all know. So that this can follow along here. Now, of course, I'm going to wait until I sew this together, and then that's when your neck banding comes into play here. Now maybe you get kind of more of a picture of that. Don't know why it just got brighter in here. Who knows? The power of the light. And I think that would be a fun shirt to have. Honestly, and they're both a very stretchy 4-way stretch fabric, and I think that would go really good. So let's get this on the sewing machine, because this is the arm banding, this is the neck banding. I think I will go ahead and stitch the neck part. Wait, no, you know what? Let's go ahead and just throw front and back together. And don't mind the fact that I do keep my crystals handy to weigh things down when I'm cutting the pattern bit out. I do use my crystals for that sometimes, and some of my stones. So this is a rose quartz, and this used to be clear quartz. This picked up a lot of energy in the house that was so negative that it fogged it, and I have to put these out in water in moonlight to cleanse that out. So this is one of the old ways to do that. So that's why we always try to have positive energy. Now, if you don't think the shirt will fit you, oh, isn't that so cute? That is just so gosh darn cute. I love this. And now I did cut the neck band a little higher up, and I did that on purpose, because when we go to sew this together, what we want to do is sew the sides together first. That's what you do with the raglan, is you sew the sides first. So let me turn this around and we'll get on the machine. Now, I will give people a little reminder with the Singer Heavy Duty 445 tooth. If the light doesn't come on, if the light ain't on, what happens? Hear that noise? See my leg? Guess what? If you don't have it on, it don't work. So I don't want to hear people out there, oh, turn the light on. If the light ain't on, nobody's home. I'm just going to say it. If your lights ain't working, fix it. This is the world of sewing, y'all. Let me set this, I should say. Let me set this to a lock stitch. There's an overlock stitch, there's a lock stitch. Overlock is the same thing as serger stitch. Now, Singer does, however, and I want to eventually get this one presser foot that just so happens to be a serger foot. Oh my gosh, you know what? That would be a massive game changer for my machine. Now reverse. Woo! What's going on? Yeah. You know what I didn't do? I did not clean my machine before we started. Let me get that done. We'll be right back. Or I should say, let me just show you the process. Honestly, pop that off. Oh, and I'm not worried about how much brown thread I have. I have plenty of it. I got a bunch of my threads off of Amazon. My friend Joy, she has a shop on Amazon. I'll leave Joy in the description box as well. Some people are like, oh, it's the tension on your machine. No, actually, it's not the tension on my machine. I'd already preset the tension. So I know what my intentions are on the machine. Yeah, so it's not that, y'all. Sometimes you could accidentally end up with 3 threads, like where that don't belong there. And yes, I do keep very sharp scissors. So we want to check that. Let's not lose this because we need it. No, that's not going to cut it unless I press on it. Sometimes what I do is I'll just take that thread and put it up there. So let's go ahead and get this unstuck. I'll be like, hey, it's not going to damage nothing. Sometimes this is a bitch to get undone. Sometimes all it is the thread got stuck. And yes, like I said, I already went ahead and adjusted my tension on the machine, so I do pay attention to the tension. Well, goodness gracious. And Hades pillbox happened here. Oh, I see. See, look, sometimes, and this is a learning thing, maybe it's a good thing got like that. This will teach you that sometimes your thread can just bunch up on that and make that happen too. And then there you go. Ta-da! Now what you do, you always need to do this, oil it. I paid $4.99 back in the day for this at the Hobby Lobby. You can't really find sewing machine oil that often anymore. Sometimes what I will do, I'll just use this in. We'll put my sewing machine oil on there like that. Brush it down. Make sure it goes in the center. That can get dry and mess everything up. Make sure that you also clean. That's what this is for. Sure that everything in there is clean. Super, super important to make sure that it is all clean. Dust the back of this. That far away from your material because that helps. Okay, now put this back up. Come back over here. Put this piece. This is very specific. I gotta be careful doing that. I'll show you in a minute why. Okay. When you put this back in, you see that yellow mark right there? When you put this back in, make sure it drops back in all proper like that. It fits back down in there. Take this. That's why you want to make sure that your needle sits a specific way while you're putting everything back together. Makes sense, doesn't it? I have had people ask me if I have ever sewn a bridal gown. Yes, I do know how to make a bridal gown. Do I feel like making one? No. That's a lot of work. Did you know that it doesn't just take a whole ass day to make a bridal gown? Depends on what people want. What's your definition of a bridal gown? Is it a sequence couture? You know, like the sequence at the top? What's your version? Is it a fit and flare? Is it a mermaid? Is it a belle dress? A trumpet dress? Is it a ball gown? Which type of ball gown? Which type of mermaid or fit and flare? There are different kinds. All different kinds of gowns. Put your bobbin back in there. This is your bobbin. Don't mind my tattoos up in your face. Run your thread like that. I know I did that so gosh darn quick, didn't I? Okay. Make sure that you reclip the end of your thread. If I can't see the eye of the needle, I put my finger behind it. The white piece right there does not always help me. I'm not always looking at that. Okay. Now, your thread. Take that, and there will be a piece of thread that comes across here. Keep going until it goes like that. That locked your threads in one spot. Now, let's take scrap of fabric, right? Take your scrap. And we are back in business, people. All that needed. So a little bit of extra. Like I said, sometimes it's going to look like you have 3 strands. Make sure you pull that out of there. That's going to be a hot mess of shit that's not needed. Anyway, that ain't needed. That is not needed. Anyway, now we can go on with clipping this unneededness again. Like, that don't honestly belong there. That'll literally pick out right here. Careful if you're using scissors like I am. Keep your seam rippers on hand. I have them on hand. I just want to show you this. In case you don't have it on hand, just be like super, super careful to pick that thread, because that thread is not light. That is a darker thread, as you can tell. You have a proper, love the seam ripper. This is always a good one. I think I have like 3 or 4 of these ones. This is why we keep these handy, people. Like I said, it's not just women that sew. Men do it too. And then go to the other side and pick the thread away, because the seam ripping on the other side makes it easier on this side. Oh, I didn't realize what a mess that is. Oh well, live and learn. Okay, now that we've got most of that picked apart, let's no longer be picky and get back to the machine, right? The other thing you want to do with this, if you need to go back in with the seam ripper on this, just go ahead. I'm here to teach today, basically. I'm going to sew something, but I'm also here to teach you some tips and tricks today. I'd love to see what Viv has sewn for this month. I'll leave Viv from Viv Mom Sews also listed. I met Joy through Viv. We've all three shopped Fabric Mart. That's our thing. It is. We love Fabric Mart. Morgan Donner from from her channel. It used to be called Morgan Donner's Sewing Party. I don't know if it still is. I have one of her pens that she used to make. Any hootie, that's a thready mess, isn't it? Wow, I'm not going to make you watch that whole mess. It's already long enough. Okay, now that I got that completely unpicked. And this is the same side that I just unpicked that, because oh my gosh. You might ask, why am I not using my sewing clips? I don't have to. Like, I'll use my sewing clips most of the time, but not all the time. Well, I should say I do this a lot. If you are at beginner level, I'm going to suggest that you get sewing clips. Straight pins. Oh my gosh, I've never liked straight pins. Now, when you're working with a fabric like this, make sure that when you're sewing this, remember, front and back are the same. And I cut front and back out at the same time. I just folded both pieces of fabric. Well, I folded the piece of fabric over one way, then I took the bottom portion and folded it upward, and then I cut that bottom piece, the bottom strip off, which was a joined piece, and then finished cutting out the shirt itself. That's a whole other video. Woo! What the heck happened with that? What? Oh, I see what happened. Gosh darn it. Like, this has been happening a lot lately. Like, it gets caught on this one piece up here that it shouldn't get caught on, period. And I don't know why it does that, but it does lately, and that's annoying. Like the little bobbin spinner piece, it gets stuck on that a lot lately, and it shouldn't be getting stuck on that a lot lately. I don't know. Sometimes I think The sewing gods are telling me it's too late to be sewing. Get off the machine. So if we don't finish this shirt tonight, we'll come back to it in the morning. Don't be getting caught up on that. I'm kind of afraid with this spool of thread now. Like, what is this doing? That's just freaking weird. Shouldn't be doing that. I have not had that problem until just like recently with my thread spools acting some sort of way. I'm going to finish sewing this side and figure out what the freak, right? And we'll be back. The sewing gods don't like me tonight. Remember how I told you about that third thread? It's not really a third thread in there. That's what this mess is. That is exactly what that mess is. That's also why we keep our fabric scraps handy. So we can figure this mess out. Okay, now that we're back with that, it can be annoying when that happens. I'll tell you that right now. That can be very annoying. So just when we're almost done with this side, right? So what we'll have to do now is we'll start from up in here and then finish that off. I'm going to try to finish both sides. And if I have to, I'll come back tomorrow. Real quick before we move along, got that side finished. Yay! Got this sort of figured out. Anyway, and then I forgot. I'm like, crap, I'm filming on a Friday. Mary Catherine's Friday Night Gab. So I'm going to sew the other side while watching Friday Night Gab with Mary Catherine of Mary Catherine Loves Cats. Of course, I'll leave her linked in the description box because it's Mary Catherine. That's like Christine Reynolds. You know, Life with Christine. I will leave her linked in the description box. So I just wanted to show you how nice that hemline looks. If I decide I don't like how it looks on me, I know some people that this would look nice on. Plus, it's kind of considered a mock-up. Okay, so I got the sides on that sewn up before I actually go to bed tonight. I'm just going to show you real quick. I stopped also to watch Mary Catherine's Friday Night Gab. Sometimes she's live, sometimes she's not, and that's okay too, because everybody needs a break from doing it the same old way. So, anyway. Let's get this done real quick. So now I will show you after I get this off of here. Now I will show you how, ooh, why is that like that? And see, look, I want to show you something. When your thread catches on there like that, that's how sometimes you end up with that weird, looks like a third thread, but it isn't. Okay. Clip your threads. I know this don't look even. So I would grab the big scissors. Even if you've been sewing as long as I have, sometimes this happens. Anyway, make sure that this part is laid open. Always make sure that part is laid open when you go to do this. You can iron it, that's fine. Lay this flat. Yes, this is a collar, and it does fit me. I know I'm big, but you know, some big people, some of us, our neck is not really that big. A lot of people would think, oh, you got a big neck. No, a lot of us actually don't. Not unless you're like an ex-roommate that I had that weighed like 500 pounds. She said she weighed 450, but girl, you left dents in a wood floor. Okay, so that's how the back of the collar piece will look. Oh, water. In case you want to know. I don't drink. But basically, that's how your collar piece is going to end up looking. I think that looks nice. So, we're going to come back tomorrow. And, we'll put the collar on. We'll do the armholes. And finish it up and show you how it looks on me. So I'll make sure I'm wearing the right brassiere. Right now, I'm just wearing a sports bra. So I just wanted to show you how clean that looks. Honestly, yeah. Before we come back Saturday and finish this up. See you then. Okay, so all of you probably guessed it by now since there's sunshine, sort of. And the sides are sewn together. I actually like how this is coming out. So my thought is, because I already got that neck banding sewn, you're going to be like, oh, that's too short for that. No, it's not. That's why it's stretchy, my friends. That's why it's stretchy. And you know what? Then I got to thinking about it. Which one of my YouTube seamstress friends had the same fabric? I was thinking Joy, but it might be Viv, or it could be both of them, which then means we all three have this assorted fabric. It's not a bad fabric. I like the fact that it is a 4-way stretch. That makes life easier. A lot of people would not think about doing a raglan sleeve without like the full sleeve. It's to get that effect. So, and my other thing is to put the neckband right here for a moment. With this part here, just a little sample, I can go ahead and just like, if I want to cut that in half, I don't want this part to be too wide. If I did, I would go ahead and just, you know, go ahead and do that part. It takes a lot of steps to know how to sew this. So even if I did that a little wider, this just to give you an idea of how that might look. Turn the light on, help you a little bit. So just so you can see a little better, although I know you can see. So I would bring it here. Now my other thought was just go ahead and bring it around and around and just, much like the neck banding, stitch it, fold it, and just stitch it on. That is one option. But if you do that, do you put that part here or do you put it up here to connect with the neck banding? Think about that. So there's some options to that. Now I'm not going to put this on yet because we need to do this part before we can do the neck banding. That makes some sense, doesn't it? So also make sure your neck banding is properly measured out there. Like I said earlier, or yesterday, well, that would be earlier, technically, that I would love the chance to go to Fabric Mart. I've been there like twice, and I want to go back. Viv, you should go with me. Maybe you should come pick me up, and then we can go to Fabric Mart together. That's just a joke. If you wanted to, Viv, just DM me on Insta. So, like I was saying, the stretches, it would also pull this section in a bit, give it a little like ripply effect in this section, which is fine. Because like I said, this will fit over my back brace, which is kind of embarrassing to have people see that I'm wearing a back brace. So let me get this figured out and we'll be back. Okay, so I was just doing a mock-up piece for right here on the sleeve, for where the sleeve hole is. Actually, I kind of like how the mock-up one came out. And this is what the hemline would look like for it. Let me grab this. So actually right now I'm debating, do I want to go ahead and put the collar bit on before I do this? But when you put a raglan sleeve together, you're supposed to do the sleeves before you do the collar. So that means right here, because I have this part seamless, and at the armhole, it's like that. There is a seam. There we go. Now you can see there is a seam right here, or a hem line right here. So what I can do on this end is go ahead and cut it and sew it the way I did on the other end. And then when I go to put that back on there, that'll go better with the collar piece, if that makes some sort of sense to you, because that helps to pull it the way I want. And so I'll probably go ahead and do that, and you know the gig. Okay, now that we are back, so I decided just to like cut that and not sew it together yet. And I have my reasons for that. So even when you're adding the sleeve and you have that dart in there, I usually leave that open until towards the end. you will somewhat know what that will look like now. That's pretty gosh darn clean. I know this sewing video is going to be long. Whatever, sewing takes a while. So I'm going to finish doing both sides of this, put the collar on, finish up the bottom, and we'll be back with the finished product. You know what? I decided, because I'm putting the collar on, and I know this video is extra long, and I know it's super late. This was supposed to be a Sunday sewing video. Haven't seen Joy on in a while. I have to go look. Yeah, this will be interesting because there's going to be some thick section to this. Now, when I'm doing parts like this in the sewing, I don't try to push my machine too hard, okay? I could have put this over that, and I decided not to for good reason. Some people think, okay, well, why didn't you just put that over the cuff part? You have that there for a reason. I do, but it might just bunch the collar up too much, if that makes any sense to you. Hope it does. Really do. I hope it does. And I know. I just hope it makes some sort of sense to some of y'all. Because like I said, you know, sewing, it does take an super amount of patience. I'll tell you that much. It really does. It takes an exuberant amount of patience to be able to do this. And not a lot of people have patience these days. It's like, even though I'm doing this video, well, I will tell you, I take time away from social media, away from watching social media, away from crowding my day with social media. I honestly take a break during the day. There are just days where I just feel like, hey, let me take a little break from doing this or doing that on social media. Putting too much of my day at social media. Does that make some sense? I don't know if it does to any of you. But I like to make sure, because if I don't, I'll end up screwing this up. And nobody wants to seam rip that. And that makes sense. Trust me, that makes sense. I do not, honestly do not want to seam rip this. Let me do something right quick. I can fix this back here. Put the needle down, hold it in place. Hold that in place. Okay. Make sure we're not going to screw up that sleeve hole. Because that sleeve hole is not where we started. Remember that. What we're looking for is this part. And I thought I had it like that. Oh wait, no. I had it pointed in a certain direction for a reason. And we left the back and we're going towards the front. Okay. Now let's straighten I have this going this way on purpose. And we just need to make absolutely sure when you do this you don't have it screwed up. So I'm just going to finish this and I'll show you the product for real this time because it's almost midnight. So now that I'm finally done with this, I'm kind of proud of this one. And don't mind, I have broke out lately and found some spider bites on me. How about that? For not fun. So at the moment, I don't have my back brace on. So over here, let me grab this thing. This is what I'm saying. I'm trying to make it so I have clothes that I can put my back brace on and try to have it in so that my clothes can fit generally over the back brace. I know you can kind of see it through there. It's embarrassing to have to wear a back brace. But look, if I can stay, I might just go ahead and just sew that back a bit. We'll see. Anyway, so if I have to start making things that go over the back brace, or if I have to put the back brace over it, I can at least do that and have something fashionable for whenever. Actually, I think this could be something like spring, a cool summer night into fall type. I'm wearing other pants. I'm not wearing something I wore or made. And a rolled hem. And this turned out pretty darn good. So anyway, I have another shirt cut raglan sleeve, but it's the brown fabric. I'm thinking about using the scraps like I did with the brown. The scraps from this fabric with the brown shirt. If you would like to see me do that, and yeah, I know I've got this collar on here, but it's not choking me. That's always good, right? So anyway, this took a little while to make. Sorry, it took me so long. It takes a little while. I'm telling you, sewing is a dying art, and some of us are trying to keep it alive and hopefully inspire other people to want to learn how to sew. You're never too old to learn. You're never too old to sew your own clothes. That's it. Yeah, that's proper spacing here too. You can quite literally add a sleeve to this. Even with this trim on here, you could just go ahead and add a sleeve if you wanted. And I think that would be cool if I would have had enough of this fabric. Would have had this as the trim in between. But anyway, let me know kindly in the comments what you think of this shirt. And stay happy, stay healthy, stay positive, and as always, stay blessed. This video is going up so late that after I edit and upload, so let it be. So let it be. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. Bye.